Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another day of Overwatch League action here in the APAC region. I am Ilios, back on the cast alongside the lovable Avril. It's been a little while, Avril. We've had a little bit of a break as we were sorting out the June jousting, who is going to be champions, and lo and behold, you're right, APAC reigns supreme. We are the superior region. God bless you, Shanghai Dragons. We will be seeing them on later on today, but man, this is going to be an action-packed day as far as the matches are concerned.
Absolutely an action-packed weekend as well. Thanks for calling me lovable, by the way. I try my best, and we'll see how lovable I am after the rest of the evening, depending on how the games go. I go between quite lovable to quite critical as well, both at the same time. I hope. But yeah, lots of Shanghai this weekend, which would be great because defending champions here in the Eastern Conference, and can't wait to see what they do. But they won't be coming up until the second match.
Yeah, not until the second match. You guys see there down at the bottom of your screen. Submit your summer-themed art celebrating the Overwatch League and Coca-Cola over at the overwatchleague.com/art gallery. Maybe make a nice little drawing of a summer-themed lovable Avril, chilling out. Ooh. Maybe he's got like the tour bathing suit going on, that kind of thing. We'll do whatever you want. Who cares? Just submit it. It'll be funny. Maybe we'll feature it on the stream, and then we can have a good laugh at it. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting day because, starting things off, we're going to have the Fusion going up against the Guangzhou Charge. And normally you would say, okay, this seems like this is going to be a very one-sided series. Fusion should have this in the bag. But Guangzhou Charge, they have looked good. In their most recent matchup, they came out on top. They looked very dominant. So it seems like they finally kind of found their groove here. But it's still going to be a tough opponent in the Fusion.
Yeah, well, Guangzhou Charge, they look good versus New York, and then they didn't look very good versus Chengdu. So, we'll say when you saw they kind of look really good, that's definitely in their first matchup. In the second matchup, not so much. Philadelphia get to make their debut so far in Summer Showdown, and they brought their full roster to bear minus poker. So, Shockwave's there, Funny Astro's there. Their whole team has pretty much arrived now, including EQO. Rascal's an interesting player because I don't know if Rascal's going to be playing today, but we'll assume that maybe somewhere along the line he'll probably get added in. He could be starting out. We'll see. And the reason we take a look at this right now is his best hero, without a doubt, at least in my opinion, in my mind, it's got to be the May. This is the defining hero for Rascal, at least based on what we saw early in the May Melee. Philadelphia Fusion, historically, at least this year, have been a team that really likes to favor the Brawl-type compositions, and Rascal in the May is a big part of that. So if Philly today want to go towards Brawl, I would have to assume if you do want to play May, you bring Rascal into the fold.
Yeah, I fully agree. You and I were kind of talking about this before the show got started. I think that with Hanamura in the pool especially, we're likely going to see Rascal come in on that, unless EQO has, kind of upped his mate game to match or maybe even best Rascal in that regard. We'll have to just kind of wait and see, but I'm fully anticipating to see him come in when it does come down to Assault. Yep. This is going to be the starting lineup, though, for the Philly Fusion. We've got Carpe, we've got EQ on the starting lineup. Mono and Hoppa, of course, still going to be there, but then it's Alarm and Funny Astro taking it to the theoretical stage. We got the player cams up, and boy, it's been a good long while since we've seen all these faces together.
Yeah, you see Funny Astro starting now, which means I don't know if Toby is going to be playing today. Everyone did question when Toby and Funny Astro are both together in Korea, who gets the game time and what then becomes the roles for the respective player. Funny Astro, this will be his first showing, I believe, of the entire season so far, coming now into the Summer Showdown. I can't wait to see what he does.
Nor can I. On the other side, though, their opponents at Guangzhou Charge, they're feeling hyped after that recent victory, and we got a special little treat for you, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at the squad. There you go. Hype videos. I love them. Keep them coming. Inject them into my veins. I love to see that kind of content. It's good that, we have that piece together here for the Guangzhou Charge. Very well done. Here's going to be the starting lineup here for Guangzhou, though. Eileen, Choi Tae-wan, Rio, Krong, Mandu, Kariv. Nothing too shocking across the board here, Avril.
Yeah, well, the only thing I would like to maybe see Charge try and implement again is a bit of Jihu involved. That's one thing they haven't really been doing in the past 2 matches that we have seen the Charge. Charge have played a lot of different compositions. We've seen the double shield from them. They're still really putting in a bit of Lucio Moira work, which to me personally I think is a bit outdated, at least as far as that composition's going. Choice of one on the Tracer is always going to be very important. This team hasn't really done much with ball comps yet, which has been another part of dive strategy. I do wonder if Charge are going to be looking at dive strategy today at all, and if they are, is it just going to be Rio back on the win soon with Kareev on an Ana double bubble again? We did see a little bit of that as well, Krong and the Zarya. So Charge are kind of just moving around all sorts of different compositions, trying to figure out what kind of works right now. But that 0-3 loss versus Chengdu is what really worries me. Despite being in New York, and that's a decent win, but losing to Chengdu 0-3 was really quite hurting.
That's very true. We'll have to see if they are able to bounce back from that up there. Of course, going to be hungry to tackle this series, get a lead here as we get ready to start things off on Control, and then shut down the Fusion. Be a really big statement for the Charge to do, especially with the likes of EQO and Funny Astro rejoining the squad here in Korea. If they can best them now that they are, potentially at their, some would say, at their full potential or close to it, that would be really huge for the Guangzhou Charge. You can see here we will be starting things off on Ilios. See which round we get to begin. Looks like we'll be heading over to Lighthouse to kick off the series to see who's going to be able to start things off with a lead.
You look at Fusion as well, you remember back in June Joust, the opening 0-2 scoreline for the Philadelphia Fusion definitely contributed to the fact that they did not make the regional knockouts once again. Backed by the fact that then they lost one very crucial map to the Valiant, that puts Philadelphia out of Fusion out of contention of June Joust completely, so they need to make sure their early matches now, very early in the Summer Showdown, need to be wins or good matches with good maps won.
Yeah. Off the bat, Choice of one lurking around the back, does get tagged up. Scored orb there by him for a moment by Alarm, so they're able to spot him out. EQO trying to stick to him like glue. Harasses him just a little bit in the back line, but otherwise not going to be leading to a kill. Like right now, priority on the point is established for the Philly Fusion, playing up on top. Now they will start to drop down, but Carpe still going to be situated on that high ground, getting the damage boost from Funny Astro. First cap just going to be given over for free. And I'm not quite sure where Rio is headed, but Eileen presses forward, gets straight in on top, manages to find Carpe. Now looks to try and deny that res from potentially coming through, and I don't know if Funny Astro is going to be able to get back on top. He needs an escort from somebody like Hotpa to potentially get that angle.
Frag.
Beam comes in yet again. Now Alarm going to be gone. Mandu finds EQO off screen. Hotpa's knocked out of the mech, and this is going to be a very nice turnaround for the side of the Guangzhou Charge. Not taking too much time at all. Only going to be 22% on the board right now for the Fusion as the flip comes through.
Huge cleanup there as well. Double ultimates now earned by Kareev and Choice of One. This is going to give the nano boost over towards Rio. So it is going to come down to Eileen getting the opening frags on this Echo. Really good for the Guangzhou Charge to have the capability for both Choice of One or Eileen to be playing the Echo. And now that Choi gets to go back on the Tracer, you kind of get both your DPSs on very good picks for this specific meta. So let's see how the rest of this dive goes now. Nano goes on to Rio. He's in.
Yep, it's out, and that's going to be Alarm gone out of the fight. Eileen finds EQO yet again, this time just taking him out with a headshot. Rio pressing forward, tries to get rid of Carpe. Does quite a bit of damage to him, and Eileen is there for the scoop up. See Funny Astro trying to run away as best as humanly possible, getting kind of escorted here by Hotpa. Seems like he will be able to stay alive. So they do exit. Not going to get staggered any further, not going to lose out on that mech. They have to try to build up some of these extra ultimates to get themselves in onto the point. Mono with the minefield especially would be huge to try to create some space on the point.
There's not really huge win conditions as far as ultimates go. Maybe EQO can land a pulse bomb, but otherwise this is just going to be flexing as many ultimates as they can. Alarm's going to pop the ultimate. Both supports now going to be overlaying.
Yeah, Bob out over towards the point, but I believe Kareev got that sleep dart in. EQO pushing forward, the pulse bomb, not going to get the stick, not going to get the kill. Mono, however, swings through, does manage to send Kareev sailing off the side of the map into the deep blue sea. With Mandu gone, as the support's out of the fight. That being said, Funny Astro is eliminated, as is Alarm. Rio, with this final race, does some serious work. So no supports for either side, but Mono and Kareev are going to be coming back. Hotbutt, the self-destruct does manage to break the duplicate there for a moment, just knocking Eileen out of the mech. He's going to be able to get his way back in, and it seems like the Charge should be able to retake this point. It's only going to be 16-some-odd% gained.
Yeah, I mean, they won the point, Philadelphia, but they lost so many players, so Charge, they'll come back in. They have ultimates ready to go as well. Kareev's nearly on to his next nano, and well, the first one to Rio did so much work. Rio needs a bit of help now, but with a bit of rally going from Mandu, they should be okay.
Yep, now Stick coming in. Everything in the kitchen sink just thrown at Carpe. They finally take him down. Back off Charge, he's already dead. They look to just continue to push the envelope now, chasing down Mono. No chance for escape as Choice A1 just hounds him down. Now looks for EQO. Takes him low. The D-Matrix coming through. They're trying to keep him protected, but Choice A1, he does manage to get the kill in the end. The cavalry was arriving to try to save him, but Choice A1 says nope, slips right in, gets straight back out to safety. 95% now for the Charge.
It's all down to EQ. He needs to land a really nice stick here. Can't be even back onto a Sombra. No option for an EMP. Even Translate gets away. There's no manual hack, nothing.
He just wanted to tag the point. That's all he was there to do. Has to jump away, but yeah, doesn't manage to get a hack. Now Hoppa pressing forward to continue up the tag. Does get D-Mech, does get finished off. The Pulse Bomb found Rio. So it's going to be one of the tanks broken down on the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but they need to stay in onto this point. You see the OT starting to bleed away faster and faster. Choice A1 is into the back lines. He's looking for Alarm. He's looking for anybody that could possibly tag up. Has to grab the Mega Pack, but almost has that Pulse Bomb online, and that could be absolutely critical here for the Charge to try to close out this map. Alarm now going to be eliminated. Mondu traded back. EQO finding one. Pulse Bomb down on the ground from Choice A1. Doesn't manage to find anything but Funny Astro taken out as he was bionated. Managed to find that kill. Now Krong out of the mech. The D-Matrix going to be gone. Eileen with a duplicate throws out that Pulse Bomb. Managed to get rid of Hotba's mech. But Diva there takes out EQO. Rio going to be burned down through that Primal Rage, and it is just an absolute bloodbath here on the point, but it seems like the Fusion have finally managed to persevere as the flip will come through. This round will not end right here for the Charge. They pushed it all the way to 99%.
Yeah, I mean, both teams once again lose all their supports. It comes down to a 4v4 tanks and DPS versus tanks and DPS. Carthley will finally find the manual hack required on Choice A1. So despite Eileen getting the copy of the Tracer, even finding a Pulse Bomb to Hotba, just too much damage coming through from the side of Fusion. They'll hold on. They got big ultimates to play in the next fight.
Oh, no.
They lose EQO. Now it's a 5v6, and you must see this EMP.
Yeah, there's no way to bring him back into the fight. Obviously, the Mercy has long since been swapped off. Eileen gets his way into the back. The EMP does come through, manages to catch on to the two. Korea going to be hacked, cannot try to use that nano boost on Rio to keep him alive, so they lose out on the Winston at the beginning of the fight. Rally is still coming into the fight here by Mondu, though, so he's feeling confident that they can keep this turn going in their favor. Korea, however, is going to be the next one to fall as Funny Astro goes in, gets that melee hit that he's so well known for. Go ahead and finish off the enemy. Ana gets traded out as Alarm will get dropped. Krong now eliminated. Hack onto Rio as soon as he comes leaping back in. Should mean that he is mincemeat here as the rest of the Fusion members look to eliminate him. He's got to jump out to safety. They're just trying to gatekeep him now, and they manage to do so.
No way.
And with a crazy come from behind victory on the first round, Fusion will manage to take Lighthouse 100 to 99%.
Yeah, that was so clutch, and that final engagement as well, which was a really long one, saw a kind of weird line of play, and you kind of notice as well, Mandu, he drops in the rally, and at that point, Charge, like, I guess we got to commit. There was a small window there for Charge to say, actually, let's back out, let's regroup, have this rally plus Nano, save it for Rio, and then re-engage properly as a full six. But once they started blowing support ultimates, they were all in, and it just wasn't going to be good enough. You rallied onto like 2 people, maybe 3 people at best. Kareem then puts a Nano onto Krong, because who else is there, really? Krong's your only tank, and Guangzhou Charge tried their best in a 4vx situation where they just didn't have a couple of key members alive. Really upsetting fight to watch on the Charge side. They actually had that. I want to say Charge probably should have had that first sub map in their favor. They probably could be at a 1-0 now, but they let it go, slips through their fingers, and Fusion are up by 1.
It's a really solid start, but really hard fought. Fusion would definitely like to have an easier time of things. Charge would certainly like to go ahead, tie this up, send us over to Well to try to settle the score. Funny Astro just off the bat, starting with the Lucio. They have Alarm backing them up on the Moira. No Ana to be seen. No one that could really try to catch out this Tracer either, so they might have difficulty dealing with Choice A1 at least at the start. Now, as I say that, he'll just get a natural hack onto him, and Mono will strike him down. Well played there by EQO, putting himself in a prime position to capitalize, catch that Tracer off guard when he didn't have the recall available.
You need to see massive bionades here from Kareev, and that means Hotman needs to deny them as well. This is the Lucio Moira comp that I've been talking about. Philadelphia currently trying to run this, and while you see how long it takes Alarm to get this Coalescence, with that Coalescence nerf, these Moiras just not getting calls in time. You can't rush them anymore. Kareev's going to get a nano first, so there's still opportunity for Charge to pull the trigger a little bit earlier, put Rio on top of Alarm, and have that impact.
Rio right now trying to get on top of everybody. Almost Goomba Stomp's Alarm there, but Coalescence will come through. They have no way to send him off the side of the map. They don't have a Bionade onto him either, so they cannot deny the self-healing that's coming through. In the meantime, Hoppa presses forward, manages to find Rio. Duplicate is here from Eileen to try to clear the point. Self-destruct will be used. They'll break him out, so no chance at a remech. Everybody eludes the explosion. Break him out yet again. Finish off the Echo as Carpe finds 2 kills. Looks for a third. Will have it. And this is going to be a really nice start for the side of the Fusion, already now at 55%.
Yeah, you finally do see that massive Bionet from Kareem, but that's as Charge exiting out. They get 4 onto both tanks, both the EPSs. It's just not when you need it, though. Rio does receive the nano. He drops onto the players required, puts a lot of pressure onto Alarm, doesn't have the primal, only will get the primal now, and they can't connect the damage, they can't beat the healing, and Funny Astro doesn't even have to use a Sound Barrier. Now they got Sound Barrier plus EMP, this could be a Philadelphia 2-0. They're pretty much one fight away from winning now.
Let's see how many EQO can get with his EMP. Gets that small little jump up. Manages to find both of the tanks. Rio now unable to leap away with that primal rage. He can only just swing away. He's got no targets. Carbate gets on top of him. Manages to find the elimination. They can't get the break on Krong's mech, but even just taking down the single tank is going to be good enough for them. That's going to force the swap now onto the Wrecking Ball as he tries to race back over to the point. Funny Astro dueling against Choice Heiwan over on the sidelines. Still is going to be there, still has that sound barrier ready to go, and as Mono gets slapped, we'll go ahead and pop it, shields him up. Krong now going to be eliminated. Kareem, dead. Nano boost does get used onto Eileen, who does manage to find 1 kill with the beam, but is that going to be good enough? Rio swinging back through, managed to find an alarm. Now there's going to be no supports available for the side of the fusion, but they still need this flip to come through. Carpe, Wraith Walk, but the sticky bombs come in, and from beyond the grave, Eileen finds the kill. Heiwan basically alone to the point here at this moment, gets hounded down, but they step off of it. They can't continue tagging in. The fusion will have the OT bleed down, and they will manage to take Ilios 2-0.
And that second sub-map as well on Ruins, far too easy. That was far too convincing from the Philadelphia side. Guangzhou, that is, on their end, it's just not enough. I mean, they were very patient. They were very slow, maybe too slow. Even towards the end there, they waited long enough that Rio didn't need to come back on the ball. He could have just come back on a Winston again. They nano Rio in. That's a clear win condition, but not enough things firing at the same time. Nano onto Eileen doesn't give you enough, and Guangzhou Charge 0-100, I believe, on the Ruins. Not the best showing.
Yeah, certainly not. I mean, making it closer at the end, but they just can't stay on the point. I'm going to be checking during the break. I'm going to look at you, chat. I know that some of you are going to be saying, oh, C9. Not a C9. Not a C9. They weren't winning the fight. But no, I'm going to check up on you guys. So don't do it. Don't do it. But there you go. Fusion, they take map 1. Looking a lot more convincing there in the second round. We'll see how they fare as we get ready to move on to map number 2 and see whether or not the Charge can tie up this set. So don't go anywhere. Map 2 is coming at you in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
teammates here to work with, but I like the patient approach that we're seeing from the Fusion. Eileen's in the back, but they shut him down. That was crucial there. You saw that Eileen wanted to pull the trigger on the Death Blossom for the charge. You see the way that Eileen's now on the back. He does try to find Alarm and Carbon. He swings in. Thanks to Choice of One also going in with them. The enabling from the rest of the chargers. So that way the rest of Fusion are enabled. It's Mato's taking a quick nap. He'll get the supercharger rather quickly, but it's too busy with Carpe getting a 3K. He's tired of it. He doesn't want to play around anymore. He's coming in. We're going to see another Diva bump coming out after Krong had pulled the trigger on that. Now it's Choice of One's turn, and he finds 4! What an ultimate Choice of One, showing why Echo is so strong in this meta. Wow, what a way to show things off. And you see Choice One, he's feeling himself. He's absolutely fun.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, and we are back. Just one map into our first series of the evening, of the weekend as well. Philadelphia Fusion, they get the draw first blood. They take Ilios 2-0. Really close start, but then just a very one-sided second round on Ruins means that they take it. Now we have to see if Guangzhou Charge are going to be able to bounce back as we get ready to go into Escort.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, I'll be honest with you, looking at the first Lighthouse sub-map there, that probably, in my mind, could have and maybe should have been a Guangzhou Charge victory. Maybe we still see Philadelphia Fusion take out the first map overall, but it could have been a 2-1 instead of just a 2-0 clean sweep there. Guangzhou Charge, I don't know, it's not looking good so far. I don't mean to sound doomer about it, we're only one map in. The last time these two teams played, by the way, was actually in the Hangzhou Spark homestand. That was during the Summer Showdown, no, the June Joust qualifiers, and that was a 3-0 result for Philadelphia Fusion. Now, there was a draw in there on Hanamura, so maybe we'll see, at minimum, maybe another draw again. Hanamura is in the map pool that will be played next, as you can see on the screen right now, but Gibraltar is our current map. An opportunity maybe for Guangzhou Charge to come back in on a far more comfortable composition. This has been historically known to be like a Winston dive heavy map, maybe double bubble as well. Krong coming on the Zarya, put Kareev onto an Ana. That's always his best hero. That is Charge's best opportunity.
Yeah, we'll see what they come out the gates with here. Seems like on the defense, it will just be this Winston Diva yet again, so not too many change-ups here for the side of the Guangzhou Charge. Eileen will be sticking with the Sombra this time rather than the Echo on the defense. So getting some, crucial hacks on the likes of Mono, who is expected to run this Winston, could be really huge for them, but you're talking about double bubble. Looks like we might have it here from the Fusion.
So to be on the Fusion side and not on the Charge side, so that maybe is a little bit surprising. We would have expected the Charge would go for that as well. You mentioned hacks being a pretty important thing, and I mean, the last map was a lot of Carpe and EQO getting the hack from Choice F1, so if Eileen can really return the favor here, that would be very important. And EQO as a person on the Traces is a really interesting point to me as well, because I had the question of who on the squad for Philadelphia Fusion was going to be the Tracer plane. Before you say Carpe, I don't think it should be Carpe, because you need Carpe on picks like the McCree, like the Ashe, and now the Widowmaker.
Eileen, for now, hasn't really revealed his location at all. He's just looking for an opportunity. Against an Ana and a Verkita, that's a pretty dangerous prospect. You can see they're trying to scout for him. Job here by Toby, who, worth noting, swapped in. Now goes in, does manage to get the hack to dive onto the high ground. They're looking for the finish. Bionade goes out onto 2. Arm does barely manage to survive, but Pop-Up going to be caught up in the crossfire in the meantime, and both tanks are just going to get absolutely nuked. So that is going to be a solid way to start off this defense. Cart making its way just to the top of the ramp here through the underpass.
Yeah, it's an okay position for the payload to be for now. Speaking of okay positions, Eileen's got great scouting. He sees where the backline is for the Philadelphia Fusion. And now do Charge want to set up a dive or not, or do they want to play really defensively here? Just allow the Fusion to come in towards them. EQO will just touch the payload a bit more, buy attention, and force the Charge to maybe address them. Like you said, Nano available, and it'll be used straight away.
Yep, diving into the back, but Carpe manages to get the catch on Eileen. Gonna assume that was set up by a flashbang, and everybody just collapses in. He gets the killing blow. Rio snapping away, trying to build up towards his Primal Rage. Doesn't get a huge amount of value, and now it's going to be Mono who takes the lead. Quickly builds up 25% there. Now dives into the back, just zapping away, looking to finish off Kareev. And yeah, there's just no hope, no one there to try to support him. Krong uses the self-destruct inside the server room, does manage to get the remake off, but EQO hot on his heels, looking to get this breakdown. Let's hold on to the Pulse Bomb. Likely doesn't want to use this just to get Krong out. We'll see if he decides that is going to be necessary. Continues to chase in, and that's just going to be the cart rolling into the hangar now for free. So point A going to be snatched up. 4 minutes and 23 seconds on the clock for the Fusion. It was a little bit of a slow start, but very quickly it all just kind of exploded, and they get this push in, and there's nearly 6 ults now.
That's like Charge is giving them the opportunity there. I think Eileen kind of baited the team, and we saw Eileen on the back line. He's saying, I got to dive positioning here, but you look at the dive distance, it is so long. You were so exposed. Rio jumps in. He pretty much jumps out straight away. As soon as the jump pack cooldown's gone and, up again, he's straight out of the fire. So there was very little done there, Eileen being caught as well. And now you talk about the 6 ultimates. That just speaks to Fusion getting such an incredible win. They don't need anything. Yes, EQO's dead, but with this many ultimates, I think Fusion could just start dumping them in and win.
Yeah, really near miss there on that sleep dart onto Eileen. Does manage to stay alive, and they manage to find a kill on the back end. Grab gets used by Hotba, but doesn't find anything. Everybody stays alive. Hard to tell. Would have to get a replay up and see what the angle was. But exactly. In the meantime, Carpe going to be eliminated. Strong picking one up, and that is going to stave off the Fusion even further for a little bit longer at least. Bionade out onto 3. Toby now loses out on his rally armor. Mono going to be slept during the primal range. They all stack in on top of him, looking for the kill. Hack comes in on the back end. They will manage to find him as well as Alarm. It's a very solid turnaround on the defense now for the Guangzhou Charge, who, as the pendulum swings, have 5 ultimates of their own.
Yeah, it's just like opposite day, and we just completely flipped everything up 180 now, because Charge now the team that have like nearly 6 ultimates. What happened to Philadelphia Fusion there? I might have just cursed them. I said, yeah, they got so many ultimates, they can just start throwing them in and just win anyway, but apparently losing EQO, Hotba throwing a grave into the ether, Mano being caught out, no line of sight, Alarm but a trouble, can't nano Mano. That is a problem, and for Philadelphia Fusion, they've misfired here. Nano goes on a Hotba. He's got reasonable energy, but not enough to really write home about.
Bionade onto Alarm. Got the Nano off, but doesn't lead to a whole lot of anything here. Hotba sitting mid-energy at the moment as the EMP gets used. Only finds Mono, and they don't manage to follow up for any kind of kill. Rio, however, jumping up onto the high ground, decides to pull back, play this one out safely, but now it's a reaggress because the Nano Boost comes in. Gets the second leap in, Bubbles coming through to try to mitigate some of this damage, but Rio is still just zapping away, manages to find Toby. Rejoins back inside of the drop ship. Bionade going to be used to just go ahead, push him back up to full HP, and Mono's got to pull back as he gets tagged up considerably. EQO does finally have this Pulse Bomb online. Needs to get a good stick if they want to break open this defense, because right now, Guangzhou Charge, they are not really budging at all. They've just been situated inside the dropship, and they're playing around this so well.
I think they need a grab pulse here for sure. Hotba's looking for it, but this is Krong's going to be there to outplay as well. He's managed to land it. Krong's very low HP. EQO's not really landed. The Pulse Bomb just, and he goes down, so no opportunity now for the combo.
Yeah, they don't manage to get that Big Bang combo, but they do manage to find Eileen, and they get Krong D-Mac. They haven't managed to finish off that Baby Diva, however. Mono's got them shoved back into the back of the point now as they wait for that respawn to join in, and maybe they just get the push in for free. They try to get the push back here onto the enemy Brigada, and that will be the cart rolling into point B. So good zoning here from the side of the Fusion to make sure that they can get this cap coming through. Give themselves another 3 minutes on the clock as Carpe is as well just, using the Deadeye to try to zone them back. Can they make this final stretch? Because this is often where teams get locked up.
I don't know whether that was a C9 or not. We are the C9 police today, Constable Ilios and Avril, pulling up in our squad car. But it's hard because I think Charge probably lose that fight anyway. But what they needed to do is if they kept the payload going in terms of contesting, they would have forced out more ultimates from Fusion, and that's worth it because Fusion have way too many ults now moving through to C. They have so much momentum pushing in, and this is going to be a primal to probably kill Kareev, and they need to get the trade now because Alarm's down.
Okay, yep, EQO is there for the alley-oop. They knocked him straight into his open arms. They find that kill. Good start now as Krong is going to be demeched. Eileen dead, just further delaying any potential buildup of an EMP for this final defense. Round at the corner now. Good for Choice A1 as he does fall low. Recall takes him back to safety. Keeps himself topped up. Pulse Bomb is available for him. So get into the back line, find somebody like Toby or Alarm. That could be enough for the Charge to try to stabilize and deny this cart finish on the point, at least with time in the bank. It's going to be, wet noodle fight up top at the moment as both Winstons go ahead, zap away at each other. Mono gets himself into the back line now, looking to keep them gate capped inside of the spawn. Graf comes through, manages to catch onto 2. Bionade, they try to keep him alive. The Pulse Bomb's going to be eaten. Krong coming up huge now, turns around. It's a melee finish in onto Hotba. Rio going to be traded out, so it's going to be a tank for a tank with Krong still alive, a little bit low, but does have the self-destruct available. Good D-Matrix denies the Deadeye so they cannot get the kills out. Eileen not going to be swapping over onto the McCree himself. Krong going to be finished off. The self-destruct doesn't manage to find anything. The Baby Diva dead. We'll see. The Fusion can make this happen. Eileen going to be eliminated. EQO gets in on top of him. That's going to be 2 members. Now 3 gone from the side of the Guangzhou Charge. They're looking to stabilize, but it's all going to have to be on the back of this rally. Mandu, he's trying to armor up his squad. He gets antsied out, and Mono finds the kill with the Primal. Now Carpe is just left completely unhinged at the moment. In the back line, just taking pot shots left, right, and center here with the McCree. Choice A1 going to be dead. A desperate swap now from Mandu on to the Lucio. Swaps back over now onto the Baptiste. Just trying to buy some time. Carpe, he goes sailing up the side of the map, but he takes Rio with him. Does it in style, the fadeaway shot, and the Fusion get the finish with 41 seconds left.
I am pretty certain, I might have to go back and look at this one, but I am almost certain Eileen had his EMP cancelled by a stun there, either from Carpe or Toby. Because the EMP came out, he was stunned and nothing happened. I'm fairly certain. Maybe this could be it. Maybe. Yeah, Eileen's got the EMP here. And here we go, Eileen's going in. Oh my god, it was even better. It was even better, Achilles. I thought it was Carpe or Toby, and I forgot to mention, of course it could have been Alarm, but I just didn't mention this. I was like, no way Alarm gets a reaction sleep on Eileen coming out of Invis. But he's Alarm. He's the best flex support in the world. Of course it's Alarm. Of course he'll do it.
A damn good play from him. And yeah, I mean, that could have been the turning point there for the Charge to finally find some stable ground to stand on, because there was not much stability for them whatsoever in that final stretch. Like I said, that's often where teams, get held up, where they cannot finish the map. But the Charge, they just never got a moment's rest to, try to finally take that breath to get into a position where they could actually sit back and just wait for the Fusion to approach. It was a constant onslaught from them. So they just got beaten and battered into submission. Still, they drained the clock down by, 2 minutes, 20 seconds.
Yeah, there was an opportunity there. There were a lot of opportunities for the Charge. They put a lot of pressure on. I saw Krong really had the defensive matrix on Hopper the entire time, and Hopper was playing with fire. He was trying to get this grab in there. They do get the grab in, but they can't follow up with the pulse pump again because Krong is just here, and Hopper's always just in Krong's face. And like I said, playing with fire there. He's looking for the D-Mech, but just not enough damage. We'll see now on the offense with this double bubble can make a difference with Hopper still staying on the Zarya, and Krong not quite looking for the Zarya just yet.
Taking his time for now as they just inch the cart forward. They get it into the underpass with relative ease, but this is where things get a little bit trickier because they have Fusion playing above and around them. Surrounded by all sides right now. EQO going to be the one to contest. Drops down. Sleep Dart does connect and get the anti in onto Krong, but they cannot get that D-Mech. We need EQO to go in a little bit too deep, be a little bit too risky to try to break him out, so they'll just let him slink away. Feed some ult charge over to Kariv, who's, of course, as you would anticipate, just surging past Alarm.
I gotta say, right now, the positioning for Fusion is pretty far back. They've kind of lost high ground now. They'll have a hack target. They can't actually say it's actually a charge over hack target they can't go on, so Eileen will just use this for farming opportunities. Not a lot of cart progression, not a lot of fights being taken. Yeah, Charge are taking this one very slowly. They can't be waiting for an EMP. They have a Nano. Here we go. Now Rio's in.
They jump onto the high ground. They're looking for Kariv. Nano Boost goes out, though. Pushes that onto Rio. Manages to find Alarm. Now Mono going to be traded. That dive going sideways for the side of the Fusion. The Guangzhou Charge, I think that might just be enough for them to push through and get this cap onto A. But take an absolute miracle and some heroics from the side of the remaining Fusion members, so they wanted to defend that. So 5 minutes strong right now in the time banks. Looking pretty decent for the Charge. So let's see how they fare now as we move into the hangar.
They managed to bank up a decent amount of ultimates as well. Say bank up, I mean they're charging up here. Hoppers move over to the Diva as well, probably better for their hangar phase. Then you have a little bit more high ground control than Zarya's lacking that regard, and Hopper didn't really have much to play with in regards to energy or graviton surge charge anyway. As long as they focus a little bit more on this payload, they're good. Yeah, Eileen does get caught out, so that's going to take even longer now for the EMP to be a factor in this game.
Yeah, that just looked like it hurt. Shield bash in there, just go ahead and seal the deal. I'll press forward. They get a couple staggers here as both supports do fall. DPS, unfortunately for Eileen, he just has not had a good time as far as building up these EMBs. Only 62% on the board at the moment, so granted they don't have too much to try to realistically couple with the EMP other than the self-destruct, I guess, but not having is still hurting their chances.
This is like a bit of a meme, and I don't want to, summon the devil here for Guangzhou Charge, but I would honestly prefer to see Eileen on a Genji. Just for at least this phase. Oh, here we go. Choice of Con will get EQ. And trust me, Charge, if they get an opportunity to play Genji, they'll do it. They'll want to go there. Got 2 Genji mains on this team. Nano is available. We'll go on towards Rio. Speeding up is important here because Charge always takes so long to get these fights going.
Yeah, Bionate now just going to be slowing up even further as both tanks do get clipped by that. Drop down here from Rio, pops a Primal Rage inside of the dropship. Got many a target tried to smack around. Jumps up over the side, just kind of scouting out his options, but hasn't found too much of anything here. Mono with the Primal of his own does get slept out of it, so we'll be losing out on a lot of that effectiveness, but Mono gets clipped by the Pulse Bomb, taken down before he can get the rally online. Grim, he uses he uses the Nano, the Pulse Bomb now going to be eaten there by Hotba. And this is just a pretty tragic turn of events for the side of the Charge.
They needed the EMP. That was the one tool that I was looking at the entire time, and I was like, okay, Eileen, when's this coming in? Where's it coming in? It's got to come in. And part of me, part of Charge is probably sitting there like, yeah, maybe we could save it. We've spent a bunch of ultimates here. We probably don't need the EMP. Versus a Fusion with so many ultimates, you absolutely do. They can't take any chances of that fight, and now momentum is heavily shifting over towards Fusion. Another opportunity for an EMP, but now I don't know if they have the tools to actually collapse on the right targets to get these kills. They don't have a Nano anymore, so this is going to have to be dry pretty much for the entire team outside the EMP, and it will land on 2 targets.
It does manage to find 2, maybe even 3 if Mono was the recipient of that. Either way, got natural hacked on the back end. Carpe finds 1. Destroys A1 does get taken out, but it's at the cost of their main tank. Hotba now as well going to be eliminated. EQO still doing some work. Takes Korea's low, and Mondu is holding on by a sliver of HP at the moment. And EQO capitalizes, manages to find that kill. Eileen going to be taken out. Nobody's on the card now. I think Fusion, they might have just done it. It was a solid looking start there for the side of the Charge, but they cannot close it out. The cart will be held, and now it's just 2 minutes to try to get this completion.
Yeah, for sure now, momentum has completely shifted in Fusion's favor. Alarm actually might have made a mistake there. He used the Nano onto Toby. Perhaps Toby got in the way there. I think the Nano should have gone to the Hotbar or Mano. 2 of the players they actually did lose, including, the EMP that landed on the Hotbar, preventing the self-destruct, but then also the Manual onto Mano, and no Nano for either of those players. Still do win off the back of EQO's clutch on the Tracer. We'll see if that continues now. A Pulse Bomb working wide. This Choice of Hell will also be looking for a similar Pulse Bomb. A lot of ultimates, though, for the Charge, so perhaps a good opportunity, even if they don't have EMP.
Just contesting the card there for the moment. Gets the rest of his charge. Shooting into the back of Hotba. Has it online. Bionate out on the 2 supports now. Oh, the charge. Oh, this is just slipping through their fingers. Karif does manage to stay alive for a little bit longer, but Hotba presses forward with the rockets, finds the kill. EQO under a little bit of fire, dips back, grabs the mini pack. I think he still has the recall maybe even to use should he need it. And it's just going to be at the cost of Alarm. That's all they lose out in this fight. Fusion otherwise still going to be standing tall. They nearly have this Primal. The rally's ready to roll.
At least Charge know who the primary target is. Alarm's been causing so many issues for this team, and I don't want to bag on Kareev. Like, I don't think Kareev's a bad player, but he's getting diffed by Alarm. But you can see the impact that Alarm has. You think that Charge is ready to go. They have 5 ultimates. This is going to be the push. Alarm drops a single Bionate that hits 2 critical targets that then get killed and collapsed on properly by the Fusion squads. That's a 6v4. There's no supports anyway. Even if you trade Alarm, not going to be good enough. Now they're liking the Pulse Bomb. Still don't have the EMP in those 30 seconds.
All right, well, they're diving into the back line. They manage to get on top of Carpe, get that elimination to start things off. Rally going to be rolling. Kareev, however, the recipient of a Pulse Bomb from EQO. They take him out of the fight. The rally armor obviously not going to be enough to try to keep him alive. Rio jumping out. Goes back up into the drop. Chip just looking for a target. He does manage to cleave down Alarm, but the Nano Boost does get used. Now Mondo going to be going in deep. Has a Primal of his own rolling through. He's looking for a finish on the Mondo, or at least to just keep him pushed away from the card. He just targeted the Choice A1, decides to dip out before he falls too low. Gets himself back over to safety, and somebody's got to tag this. You can see right there, Choice A1 manages to get it done. Goes ahead, recalls away. Krong going to be team next. Self-destruct now going to be rolling. Deadeye comes through from Carpe, looking for a kill. Doesn't manage to find anything, can't get the Baby Diva. Self-destruct up over the top now from Hotba, doesn't find anything, but Krong pushes forward, manages to deny his remake. Carpe headshot goes in on the Choice A1. The EMP is out. It managed to clip onto so many members on the side of the Fusion. It seems like the Charge will manage to win this one out. Seems so very close there for quite some time, but they get across the finish line. But it's only with a minute and a half now remaining in the time bank. So they're going to be finishing this with less time than the Fusion or in OT.
I mean, Guangzhou Charge finally landed an actual EMP. Yeah, I think that not at all might be the truth of the situation, because you've got a minute 10 here. Most teams need more than 130 to finish the entire map. If you only have 130 going to C, you're relying on an overtime fight, and you're relying on perfect execution here. 0 mistakes. You can't afford to be reset pretty much at all. What ultimates even coming online, you got to have another Nano Boost available. Both Alarm and Kareev have been heavily targeted by the respective Tracers, and Hero's going hunting again. I wouldn't be surprised if this Pulse Bomb goes straight for Kareev.
Well, that or Mondo. You can see some over there at the cart, just trying to push it through. Rio with the Primal Rage, just trying to stay alive. The Bionate is making it rather difficult for him. We'll start getting those health packs out from Mondo. try to keep him topped up, but with all the focus fire going into Rio, trying to keep him alive, they managed to lose out on Krong's mech, and you're talking about they can't afford to get reset. Even losing that mech is pretty much a reset for them. He's trying to pistol his way back in, can't afford to jump off the side of the map and come back into this after a respawn. He needs to get this back right now.
Fusion have way too many now. They've unfortunately not been pressing the trigger far enough here. Guangzhou Charge don't have enough space, and they might just lose off to ultimate difference entirely. What?
Okay, EQO kind of gifting them something there for a moment, a slight little reprieve, but it's still not going to be good enough. Yeah, I mean, that's a nano boost out of the choice they want, but nobody can touch the cart. Both supports still fall, even with the slight little snafu there from EQO, taking himself down with his own pulse bomb. The Fusion, however, they still do manage to successfully defend at the final corner on Watchpoint Gibraltar, and that sets them up now 2-0 in this series.
And no overtime, no time bank secured. That B hanger phase was really all it needed to be. That being said, I mean, what we're talking about here is 0 time available for C, 0 time available to finish the map, perfect gameplay required, and unfortunately we don't see perfect gameplay from Charge at any point on any map so far in this entire series, maybe this entire stage. It's just rough, man. They constantly have the tempo taken away. They finally get an opportunity to push. Alarm lands a double Bionade. Something goes wrong. Somebody dies when they shouldn't be. And Charge, it falls apart so quickly when one thing goes wrong. And that one thing going wrong is like every single fight.
Well, unfortunate, but some stability desperately needed here from the side of the Guangzhou Charge. We'll see if they can find respite, find some sanctuary in, our third and potentially final map as we do get ready to head into Hanamura, I do believe. So we'll see if that is going to be the case or if this is just going to be a clean 3-0 sweep from the side of the Fusion. We'll find out when we come back from the break, so stay tuned.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch. TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, and we are back. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're about midway through this series, you could say, if it continues onward, I suppose. Last time these guys squared off on Hanamura, it did result in a draw, as you mentioned. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll get a draw again. We'll have to just kind of wait and see. But if you're just joining us, the Fusion are looking good. They have started off 2-0. We've seen, a little bit of funny ass in the first map. Toby come back in for the second map. Now they're going to continue with a couple little change-ups here, as we do have Rascal getting ready to join the squad, taking over for good old EQO. So this is kind of as we were predicting before the show started. This is likely just going to be Rascal coming in to play his May, because it's just like the best in the league. So why wouldn't you do that?
Certainly the best on his team, and this is the kind of thing where, if I'm going to comment on, maybe, I'm not even going to say it's a weakness, but it's a quirk of the Philadelphia Fusion where it's maybe exploitable, but across their 4 DPSs, Rascal, EQ, and Shockwave have a lot of overlap. Now, these 3 DPSs cover pretty much the same heroes across the board, so Carpe is the only guy that can reliably land on those hard-hit scans. And this is why I'm saying Carpe can't be the Tracer player in your team. It needs to be probably EQO or Shockwave. We've seen some Rascal Tracer. If Rascal's your best Tracer, you're in a bit of trouble here. Rascal is your best May, though, and so this is where Fusion can definitely rely on that to be a game-winning factor for now Hanamura, where Brawl's probably going to be on the menu. Looking over towards the Charge side, though, Seth, I'm not really pleased about what I'm seeing here. I had a lot of concerns about Charge walking into this. They've had a lot of changes to the roster in terms of the staff here. They've lost and gained some coaching staff and still trying to find their feet here. That 0-3 loss to Chengdu, I think, is still kind of showing its face now versus arguably an even better team, a Philadelphia Fusion that look like they're kind of on lockdown. And we're seeing the whole, width of their roster being used here to great effect. And for Guangzhou Charge, very passive, very slow, not very active. Compared to a team like Shanghai, which is so good, Shanghai constantly moving around the map. They're constantly doing something to progress the objective or progress towards the objective. Charge, at various times, honestly look like they're sitting on their hands.
Yeah, it's not been great, and it's a shame because it was such a promising start to this series. That first round of Ilios, on Lighthouse, we're like, oh man, 199%. This looks like this is going to be a good set. This is what we were hoping for, because we come into today and we're like, oh, this could be a crazy day of matches, because we've got Seoul versus Shanghai coming up next. Guangzhou Charge, they kind of look like they were on the up and up, taking that series off of New York, who a lot, myself included, thought we were going to be able to win out. So I was like, maybe Charge, the stock's going to be rising, but it just fell flat after that. Ruins, 100-0 loss for them, and they can't finish Gibraltar to take us into extra innings. So yeah, it's kind of just like sizzling out right now for the side of the Charge. They need to reignite the fire, find their focus, and get back into this series, try to take a lead here and just, push the Fusion to their limits. We saw that they were starting to identify, Alarm is the one who's causing the most problems for us. Let's dive onto him. That's what got them, into the hangar phase of Gibraltar. They had a couple good moments there, but they're just lacking in the overall coordination, I suppose.
The first fight was good.
Yeah, first fight's great, but it was the follow-up fights from there just kind of got worse and worse as time went on. We weren't seeing Eileen being able to build up EMPs quickly. We weren't seeing huge impact from them either, and it's just been a rough time of it. So I'm hoping that they can find some stability here on Hanamura. They will be first on the attack. Fusion getting ready to kick off this defense, and it seems like we're not going to be having too many swap-ups, but it's not going to be Rascal going for the May on defense. We'll just be going for the Echo.
So not only Orisa for the defense, it's not quite double shield either. It looks like a double shield core. I mean, everything screams double shield except for the part where they don't have the second shield, which, technically is what double shield's made of. You don't have Opera in the Sigma, right? Sure. So aside from that, it should still play mostly like a double shield, at least stylistically. No good pocketing for Rascal. Toby's going to be spending most of his healing on Rascal himself. So we'll see how Rascal does on the Echo, because Rascal, starting on the Echo, was decent, but now I think he's been falling through the ranks of Echo downwards for quite some time. So possibility for Eileen to be able to make a bit of a diff happen. However, on an individual level, I don't have concerns about Charge. It's the team level that I have a lot of concerns about Charge.
See what happens. Push up now, making their way through the initial choke point.
Oh, the Genji, I've summoned it.
Okay, you were talking about it.
I talked about it last map, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, Genji sounds good. Admiral's giving us permission. Why not?
All right, so they want to go for the EMP blade. See if they're going to be able to build this up in a reasonable amount of time.
Chinese broadcast called this composition Black Sword, which I think is pretty cool. Just for the Genji Sombra.
I require healing.
We'll see if they are going to be able to summon forth that power. And Rio has been taking a lot of damage. I said that in the choice I wanted to go. Just getting capped there by Carpe. Chunking him out considerably. Korean, of course, he builds up the nano boost in record time, as he always does. That's going to lead in for the dive. Rio getting his way into the back line. A lot of sticky bombs out there from Rascal, however, pushing quite a bit of damage out onto the other members here on the side of the Charge, who are currently going to be locked off on that side of the map in the flank. Going out for now. Prong, however, the first one to lose out. Loses the mech. Rio now getting dove on as Hoppa pursues forward. Manages to get the finish. It will cost him his mech, the Bionade, finishing him off there. So they will pop him out. And he's not going to be looking to go for any kind of jump off the map reset. So we'll have to pistol his way back into this. Mono gets hacked. Desperately trying to keep him alive at the moment, but Alarm, he's got that window available. So Amp Matrix does get chucked down. As we see the drop down from Choice A1 coming around from behind, but cannot really play that angle for too long. Just has to instantly pull back. He does almost have the blade online. Now Toby does get eliminated. Choice A1 finding the kill. Rio can cause quite a stir now on the point with Primal Rage available. He's going to jump forward. Hasn't quite popped it yet. Bomb going to be used by Carpe out over onto the point.
Okay, they need to EMP.
Zone them back. Ooh, Rio, he barely pops that Primal Rage before he got taken down by the sticky bombs. Does manage to stay alive, and just like that, now 4 members of the Fusion say sayonara, and that is going to be the point A-Cap coming through.
I'm glad Charge really pushed, kept on pushing there, because if they let the pressure off at any point, that could have been Fusion regaining position, solidifying their position, and then turtling forward with their composition. But this is where they just kept it going. They push Fusion to a small room, and they play around the fact that the Ant Matrix is there. I mean, Alarm's going to be the second person after Kree to actually find an ultimate. You know the Ant Matrix is going to be somewhere, but if you can play around it, have some flanks going, Choi then gets the perfect engage onto Toby, I believe. He goes down pretty much straight away. Hopper was already DMX, so no defensive Matrix. That's really all you need. Supercharger from Mano now is going to slow down Charge. It's not going to really give you a fight win, but will prevent Charge from pushing forward. It is Nano Blade time, though, however.
Okay, it's just a time buy, and this is going to be Mano swapping over to the Winston.
And Carpe's dead. Okay, you got to go now.
Okay, yeah, that is a huge pickoff. It's quite far in the back, though, so it's going to take them a little bit of time.
They're very slow.
Yeah, they have to get back up the staircase right now, get onto this high ground, so it costs them a little bit of time. Carpe's already going to be respawned and joining back into the fight. Now the Bionade clips onto Rio. They look for the finish onto him, but it might actually be Mono biting the dust, and it is, as we will have a pause coming through, but Mono taken down, over-aggressing, trying to get that kill onto Rio. Okay. It costs him dearly, and this could be a major turn now in the fight once we get back into the action.
I gotta say, this is a near-perfect situation for Guangzhou Charge. If they can't win here, I'll even extend a win to, not necessarily capping the point, but winning to me would just be getting 2 ticks. I think my expectation is 2 ticks here, Killer. Seriously, because
you have to get
you have Rally going in a 6v5 plus a Nano Blade, right? Okay, you don't have an EMP, you don't have a Primal, whatever. Those are chill. You got the other ultimates. You're good to go. All you got to do is get past this one duplicate that Rascal has, plus Toby's Rally, and you're free. You're home free. If there is a mistake made here, and I can for sure see a situation, I'm peering to the crystal ball and Alarm's going to hit a nutty sleep on a Choice Equine as soon as he goes for the blade, or a Bionade's going to catch both Mando and Kareev again. Something like that crazy is going to happen from Alarm's POV, and Fusion just shut down this fight. But if Charge don't get significant, don't get significant impact out of this particular fight, I mean, when do you? What else are you going to get? They've had 2 6v5s now. They caught Carpe out. Brilliant manual hack from Eileen. Cool. Don't get to capitalize on that one because they were very slow. We're in a position to push. I think, who cares about going high ground? You got the 6v5. roll in through main,
Just
nano
go
straight
straight through
away,
main.
and just go. Like, just go, because Charge are so slow. Like, it's like I'm scratching my eyeballs. It's just watching them is just like, why are they so slow about doing everything? It's like they play the game on 0.5 speed instead of 1 time speed. I don't understand. So I need to see them really get into it, and this has to be the fight they win.
They at least had a good capitalization, picking off Mono at the start to set them up for this prime position that you're talking about. So it was a good, swift turnaround to just go ahead and shut down that Winston. But yeah, we have to see how this is going to turn out, because the Nano Blade is a very scary prospect here for the side of the Fusion. Seems like we have to call that everything is going to be okay, so we will be getting back into the action here. And let's just go straight into it. Duplicate is out there from Rascal. He's going to drop down onto the low ground. Grim still holding on to the Nano Boost for now, and Rascal not really in a great position to try to get this struck online.
Still haven't
The
committed.
rockets start flying, and now he's got it here on the high ground. The Bionade hits 4, and they manage to zone them back. Now it's Rally Armor out onto everybody, and no ultimates other than the Rally from Manu have been committed thus far. They still do have this Nano Blade available. Creep. He jumped on there for the moment. Sleepdart goes out onto Mono. Yet again, they managed to find the kill, but Hanpa follows up, finds Eileen. Not going to be seeing any further hacks here in this fight. He cannot build up for the EMP yet. First tick is almost online here for the side of the Charge. You can see now with the blade coming through, it's Rascal cut down off the bat as he swaps over onto the McCree, barely given an opportunity to play the character at all. Hot Butt broken out of the mech, has the self-destruct. The Baby Diva desperately trying to survive. The explosion finds Rio. And now he's right back into the mech. They cannot deny
it's
it.
over. It's over.
You're talking about him on Tracer. Well, he comes out with it, and he finds 2 with the Pulse Bomb, builds it up very rapidly, and absolutely shuts it down.
I'll be honest, seeing Rascal come out on Rickery and Carpe on the Tracer, that's not the composition I thought the 2 DPS would be playing, but it's the one they needed at a time, and the Pulse Bomb locking them out, 4 on the Bionade coming through from Alarm as well. There were 3 back-to-back 6v5s there for Guangzhou Charge. They killed Toby once, and then they got, 2 kills on Mano back-to-back, and took them how long to get a Nano Blade going despite having it in their pocket the entire time. Maybe I'll throw them this bow. Maybe it wasn't a good opportunity to find the right targets for the Nano Blade, but then the actual moment they chose was a single D-Mech on onto Hotbar rather, who then just goes back in the mech anyway. They don't even kill the Baby Diva or anything, so it's just a bit of a fluff fight, and now they've got an EMP with way less ultimates in their hand before. And Hotba, I don't know how he made it back in there. He had a sliver of HP. They get a nice deny on Mono leaping up onto the high ground, so they do stop him from getting a lot of value with this Nano Boost, but it's still just buying time. They're still just playing back right now, so this clock is just ticking away. Still no ticks established for them on the point choice they want. Nowhere to go, no recall available. He just gets stomped into oblivion. Now it's Rio forward here on the point. Nano Boost goes out onto him, but he's going to be slept on the high ground. And by the time that expires, you might just have another sleep available to shut down this Primal, but yeah, they kill him off. Krong only manages to find Rascal. He's going to lose his mech on the back end of this fight. Obviously doesn't want to self-destruct here, but man, it's brutal. I gotta say, this is the teachable moment, because this is the perfect example of what I'm talking about when I say Guangzhou Charge have the tempo taken away from them at all times. That was a fight where they want to go in, and then just as they're about to go in, you see Kareem wanting to go for the Nano, Eileen setting up for an EMP, and as they're going in, Choice One gets picked. Uh-oh, that's a 5v6 now. Can you actually commit or not? You kind of half commit, then you start to get farmed here, and then you just all lose, and now your ultimate advantage is starting to slip away. You had a huge ult advantage, and now Fusion are starting to build their ult bank up again, and you just lose another 30 seconds to a minute. So whenever Charge are ready to do something, something goes wrong for their team. And I literally said every fight, it does look like every fight something goes wrong.
Well, here we go again. Familiar territory, about to be 5 ults online. Good stick.
Good stick.
One finds Rascal. He wasn't paying attention to his backside. Does get punished quite heavily there. Is that going to be a good enough opening now? They're out onto the point. Contest comes through from the side of the Fusion, stopping them from getting that tick. Harpe with the pulse, this time not going to manage to find anything. Hotbutt going to be hacked, tries to drop down, they try to keep him alive. It's not going to be enough. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at him. They couldn't quite keep him in that mech, but the Diva is still going to be there. Sleep Dart going to go wide. EMP. Alarm does manage to dip back inside to keep himself safe, but as you say, Solo EMP on Amato, and he will get cleaned up. Krong finding the kill. Second tick now coming through with just a few seconds remaining. Somebody needs to touch, but they cannot manage to do so. Good move away on Rascal, stops him from forcing this into OT. So critically, the Charge finish with 4.4 seconds remaining.
Well, there's that one fight, so, Charge will be able to come in where, for one of the few times that we've seen in the series, nothing at the start of the fight stops them from properly engaging. and they will connect where they need to. And it begins with the 6v5. Don't forget, this is where you had that pulse stick onto Rascal. This is that double pulse that we found from Carpe a little bit earlier on. And I mean, Mandu was screwed. I mean, he could either land it onto Krong, or he can run into somebody else. Or he doesn't have to run into somebody else, but unfortunately he did run into somebody else. But I think no matter what, that would probably have been a two-piece.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could have dove off the staircase, like down towards the little underpass and takes
You have like half a second to choose, though. You have
but
to, like,
yeah, I mean, I can't really fault him. Especially once like climbing up the wall or double jumping up onto that.
Just bad luck.
Just oh no! I would love to see their faces in slow motion the moment that happened. Because you gotta imagine just wide-eyed Mondo, just like, what have I done?
Yeah. I mean, I think the fight was nearing conclusion there. You could see that Fusion was slowly grinding that fight out. I'm glad that Charge kind of picked up the pieces and got things together for one final engagement where things did land. And, I'm not really hoping for much with the EMPs. It ended up being solo EMP, but honestly, hacking Mano out there, that ended up being a kill, so that's okay. And Alarm, looking at his POV, he was on like 95%, but that last 5% was so hard for him to get. You just didn't see this Nano coming in. I think if the Nano did come in, especially on the Mano while he was hacked, that could have been the W. Now, Achilles, you said you wanted to see a bit of May. Rascal brought that up to you.
It's very rare that I would willingly opt into watching some May gameplay, but when it's Rascal, I'm all about it. Decent amount of damage pushed out there from Eileen with the sticky bombs, pushes himself up to about a third of his ultimate there at the start, but you get the TP around, and now the onus is very much with the Guangzhou Charge to try to re-aggress, but I mean, this is just giving time for Rascal to get set up and try to cut somebody off the wall. I'm getting jumped on there for a moment, throws down the Immortality Field, and Carpe will be eliminated. Now Mono going to be gone, and they only managed to trade out for Rio, so now fighting on the back foot are the Fusion. Crib jumped on, trying to desperately get D-Mac there onto Hotba. Took him damn low, but couldn't quite finish him off. But it seems like as scrappy as it is, as many kills is coming through for the side of the Charge. Wall will come up, they will get cut off. Mandu will die, and this will be the Fusion scrapping their way to a first push cap.
And they got plenty of time left in the bank as well, so decent brawl coming on through Charge, though. The issue there is they couldn't quite stop the Fusion from rotating onto the point. I mean, it's easy as just popping down that teleporter. Everyone goes on through and Charge. I mean, they needed to land a lot of damage either on the teleporter entrance or the exit, or be able to find a pick a lot faster than that, running from all sides. They eventually get Carpe, but they get traded too effectively. Let's see if this Doom Genji actually does anything, because you have the Nano available, and it can actually go straight onto Eileen, towards this defense. It's a lot of ultimates coming online for Fusion, though, and even if some Nano shenanigans come on, I think the sound barrier will be enough. You need Eileen to pop a single kill out of nowhere on a punch to end things.
Well, yet again, TP around the back.
There it is.
Up that charge, Eileen gets in, yep, finds the punch, takes out Carpe. Nano Boost keeps Eileen alive for a little bit longer, but Alarm manages to find the finish at the end. Now starting to tick up with the points, somebody's going to have to contest this. The first tick nearly coming through. Good juggling going on onto Alarm, trying to get that elimination. The blade now drawn out from Choice A1. A 2-for-1 special as Alarm and Mono will both get struck down. Into the ice block goes Rascal. Kept alive for a little bit longer, but the right clicks come in. Choice A1 and Eileen both pile in onto the May. They get the kill, and Hotba will get debacked here on the back end. Likely just going to have to jump off the side of the map, I would expect. Yep, he's already headed for the ledge. And that is going to be the first volley staged off here for the Charge.
One thing that Charge are consistently doing super well is that they can get these first picks. And I was looking at Eileen, okay, the Doom's got to be, finding some value here. If you're going to be playing the Doom, something needs to happen. You need to find a key pick here. And the Doom, by the way, is a specific counter to the Symmetra. And notably, the first target for Eileen is going to be the Sims. And they take Carpe out, 6v5 again. Charge put themselves in a lot of 6v5 situations, which is great. If it's any other team and it's 6v5, they'd be winning every single fight. Sadly, though, and we find another 6v5 situation, we'll see how many 6v5s Charge can actually win, because they've also lost plenty of 6v5s. This time, though, they can't convert further, because Fusion will just wait. Well, we'll come back in. Play properly now. They got to do this a lot though. There's still 4 minutes in the time bank, and Charge have to repeatedly get these opening kills, then play the respawn advantages, and then they might be able to hold.
And that just can't be allowed to happen there. Alarm getting picked like that by the sticky bombs. A deep sleep into the back line. Good shot from Kariv just to further buy more time off of this time bank. Still a large amount to go through though, as we're just about to go under 3.5 minutes for the Fusion. Rallies up, Nano starts things, throws that onto Rio, presses forward, Bionade out onto both tanks. Mortality Field keeps him alive for a little bit longer. Do you see that burst healing coming through from Alarm from Toby? Wow. They keep Mono in the fight, but yeah, Rascal cut down. Choice A1, make it look easy. Has it lined up for him, so you can just go ahead and get the headshots through to shut down Rascal. And you were kind of talking about this, when Rascal's the one playing the Tracer for your team. you know, might not feel as strong about it.
It's not even that he's like not good at Tracer. He's just a little bit average on Tracer compared to the real elite Tracer players, and you know we'll see how that goes. Because Fusion, the one thing they do like is like a really elite level Tracer. I don't know if they'll need one. Eileen's got himself into a little bit of trouble. So much damage. Yeah, this is going to be a fight that surely goes away a charge.
Yeah, it's certainly looking like it. They managed to push Carpe up over top of the Immortality field to get the finish on a Ham. Rio will get traded out on top of finds the kill. Eileen, duplicates. Gets the duplicate there on Mono, drops down the Supercharger. Self-destruct committed to the fight there by Hotba, does manage to remech, so they're still trying to fight this one through. Charge buys some time for Rascal to try to rejoin, but they'll actually get the break here onto Kwong's mech, forces self-destruct. Throws them back, at least for the time being, an alarm. Will get finished off in all of the chaos. Rally now rolling, Mondu leading the charge forward over towards the spawn of the Philly Fusion, and yeah, they will be able to hold this.
Okay, I think they did overcommit, but they ended up spending a couple of ultimates to keep them alive, and well, as long as they're not too far behind in ultimates compared to where Fusion are, and thankfully that they're going to be just about where Fusion is. It's about 2 ultimates versus 3, maybe 4, so they're about maybe 1 or 2 ultimates behind. It's not the worst. They still do have, you know, the combo of the Nanoblade itself, which you hope is going to be good, but on top of that, the respawn advantage is also huge. If they can win one more fight cleanly and drop this to below 1 minute, even if Fusion cap, it's a comparable time bank, and that's all Charge need. I think the goal of Charge is not necessarily full hold yet, or to hold B entirely. They just need a comparable time bank.
Okay, well that's going to be a rough start. Eileen's going to be taken down on the bat now. Open things up. This is Deadeye comes through. Carpe is going to be slapped played. Only managing to find the Superchargers thus far. Misses that swipe very narrowly on a Rascal. Would have finished off the enemy Tracer. Don't manage to make it happen. Hotba coming up big. Takes out Rio, takes out Mondu. That's 3 members currently gone with a 4th looking pretty soon to join them. He will manage to slink back over to the spawn.
Back to
Swaps
Tracer.
over now to the Tracer. We'll see if this is going to be enough to buy some time and take them in under a minute. Seems very likely. Fire now out onto 3 members. Krong going to be eliminated. Alarm pressing the shift, just trying to keep everybody alive. Still holds onto the Immortality field here for now. Self-destruct thrown into the back towards the spawn. Doesn't manage to find a pick, but zones him up onto the high ground. And Eileen has to drop down here alongside Krong. Kariv currently out on an island by himself, and Rascal has bound him, but he doesn't come for rescue. He comes to completely eliminate him. He eradicates Kariv, and just like that, this should be the closeout here. The Charge desperately try to just string in onto the point to buy some extra
Primal?
time, but I don't see this turning around. The Primal does come
there
through.
it is.
Say one now going to be eliminated. Mondu swapping over onto the Lucio to try to buy a little bit of extra time, but they just cut down Rio very swiftly. Find the elimination. Karif fades into the back. He's not long for this world. They finish him off, and it's seconds being stripped away every single time somebody steps foot on the point here from the Charge. And they do make it close. Can't quite force it down to 0, but they get it damn near there. 1:15 to a minute as we get ready to go into OT.
I mean, that's a dub in my book. You know, I took that one off straight away on the checklist because I said they just got to get a comparable time back. 1:15 to 1, 15-second difference. You take that if you Charge. They look like they lost that final engagement at about 1:20 remaining, maybe even 1:30. So the fact that they got a 1 minute stagger there in terms of how long they stalled for, beautiful stuff in that Primal from Rio right towards the end, just a little bit of extra healing. He's staying alive a little bit too long. He got melted, but he just, you know, buys enough time to bring it forward. To be honest, I thought Fusion were on cap at about 1:10. I was looking at the, you know, plays alive and 2 ticks being found. I was like, oh, Fusion will get over a minute here. This is going to be disastrous for the Charge. But then just Charge kept coming back out. They kept staying alive. 1 by 1, you know, 2 CP low, I guess, but it works. And Charge them now put themselves in a position where maybe they can actually have like a dare I say, a win on Hanamura, because 15-second difference is certainly within means for Charge to play with, but they got to execute, and this is where they'll be really tested.
Yeah. Well, let's see if they can get it done. I believe we had the stat at the beginning of the map before we even got into the action. The Charge have not lost an assault map to the Fusion. So we'll see if that holds true, whether it's with a win here or yet another draw on Hanamura. Only time will tell. TP forward, swap now. Trace1 moves to the Tracer. He's thinking better of it. Goes for the Reaper. He's just getting word, I guess. You know, scouting report. What's happening?
I see this. Okay, they are looking for maybe a one and done with the double shield here. If they get an actual setup here, it requires them to do a lot of rotating. I wouldn't even mind seeing them play a sim here, but they need to successfully rotate. If Fusion can spot what the comp is, what the matchup is, and they can disrupt the rotation, this is not going to work in 30 seconds. We'll go by really quickly.
Playing down. Quite a bit of damage, has to pull back. Recall going to be used. Hanpa as well. Scooping up that Mega Pack for now. Carpe lobs in the Dynamite. Gets quiet. Bit of value. Yeah, that is so much damage being pushed forward. I mean, look at the ult charge just surge up. It's up nearly to 40% off the back of that. Eileen desperately trying to do the same. Set up over top of the shield, lands here on the archway. Somebody's gonna have to touch the point. They're already there to force out the OT, guarantee that. Big halt together, keeps the team clumped though. They can't really get over to this point right now. It's all on Choice One to try to keep this contested. He's hounding down Carpe. He's trying to get that elimination. Carpe is just holding on for dear life, trying to get this Bob ready to rock. They find him though. Carpe gets the shot, takes out Choice One. Krong going to be eliminated before he can get the Flux, and that is going to be the hold coming through. No percentage gained here on point A. Now with 1 minute and 15 seconds, can the Fusion get a tick to best the Guangzhou Charge on Assault map here for the first time?
You know why
At least on Hanamura.
Philadelphia haven't taken a assault map is because the last time they played, despite it being a 3-0, they drew Hanamura, and now Guangzhou Charge, the best they can do is draw Hanamura again. So the draw Hanamura strat has to be out in full force, and at about 30 seconds remaining, when I see that Guangzhou Charge is still stuck at the front doors, I'm like, no, this is not going to happen anymore, because again, for this double shield to work, they actually need to make a long rotation, sit up on the point, have the firing lines to contest properly, and then have this kind of front-to-back battle with Fusion on the point. If they can't even get to the point, there's just no chance at all. So they got to focus on the rotation. This is why I wanted to see a sim maybe, just to help them get around the map. If you're going for a one and done, just to get a tick or two on A to make it, worthy of competition here, you have to fight for the point, and Charge never got there. So Fusion now have the opportunity. Get a clean sweep 3-0. Charge now looking for a very mighty draw.
Get behind me.
Yeah, I mean, mighty indeed. They're going for the Genji yet again here from Choice One, which is very risky. Let's see if they can pull this off. Charge fans, get your Herbalife branded telescopes out. See if you can spot that draw out there. I think it very well could be done, but with Rascal on the maid, that's going to be that much more challenging. Out the gate, yet again with the Symmetra.
Is the scope like the Ana rifle, and then the Herbalife is the nano boost you throw into Choice One?
Sure. If that works.
Inject Choice One straight to that Herbalife.
Hey, if you can get that nano boost from Korea, put it on Choice One, get a blade online, it's looking pretty good for them. So we'll see if they can make it happen. Carpe for now just building up. He's got the microwave, eat it up.
See, Fusion on the stretch, just TP.
Yep, they just TP. Why not? Forehead, just get TP onto the point. Somebody now has to touch immediately. Toby going to be antied out for the moment. Taking down to half HP. That's going to force the Immortality Field. Carpe falling low yet again. Immortality Field going to be finished off. Rio with the jump over to the side. Manages to find Carpe. Krong going to be demexed, but Alarm eliminated as well. Now Toby going to be gone with 30 seconds left. They have to reset right here, right now. Rascal, get your bum out of the ice block. Just die and get ready to come back in. He's still continuing to play forward. The wall comes up, but it doesn't do jack. Just go back to the respawn room.
5v6 again. I don't know how Charge do it, but they find it in the 5v6, and that's because Rascal dies so late, like you say. Alarm has a Matrix, but they need to get to the point. Carpe needs to instantly TP. If there's anything that goes wrong with this TP, it's done. It's going wrong.
They're looking to break down the teleporter. It's starting to go wrong. You can see he's trying to keep himself protected right now and just offer up some long-range artillery as best as he possibly can. OT starting to dwindle away. Karif now. Nano boost online. Krong so very low, but it's going to be Hoppa, the one to lose out to the back. Here comes the blade. Hoppa now going to be dead. Choice One looking for another target. Settles for Mono. Strikes him down. Eileen now with a duplicate out on the Reinhardt. It's just going to be a celebratory duplicate because the Guangzhou Charge, they pull off the defense here. They get the draw, and we continue on with the series. It still could be a 3-0 for Philly Fusion, but not in the way that we were anticipating. Lightning has struck twice in the same spot, Avril. Yet again, Philly Fusion cannot close out Hanamura.
Maybe we need like better script writers. Apparently, we're just rehashing the same plot from the last time these two teams played. Just draw Hanamura again, and it looked like, okay, yeah, we'll do the TP strat again onto the point. That worked for us last time. You have to remember Carpe also died last time the TP play happened. This time, though, you do see Charge. They're a little bit more wise into it. They're like, yeah, okay, we did lose the TP last time. We need to make sure we're a bit more ready for the TP. And they were. They managed to find those kills, and Rascal staying alive way too long because of his own choice there. Bit brutal. And then obviously towards the end, the Nano coming on through, Herbalife straight into the veins, and it's going to be the Nano blade that gives the victory. I thought maybe the Nano would be given a Krong, keep him alive. No, the real W is in the Nano blade, and Charge know it.
Well, we go on further. Guangzhou Charge with a hope, with a dream to try to bring this back and go for a reverse sweep. We'll see how they fare as we get ready to come back for our next map type. You can see looking a little exhausted right there in the chairs, but we have a quick break and then we go straight back into the action, so do not go anywhere.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.
And we are back, and no, we are not heading into our second series of the evening. We are not doing our game break yet, because this series is not done. We have yet another draw on Hanamura between the Philly Fusion and the Guangzhou Charge. So we go a little bit deeper into this and see if, this time Guangzhou are going to be able to pick up another map, or if we just end up seeing Fusion getting a bit of a delayed 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, going into this one, I think my expectation was probably a 3-0. Now, you did say 2 maps deep that we were halfway through, and I'm like, halfway or 2/3 of the way through, and you end up being correct. We are halfway through because we're seeing 4 maps because there will be a draw because, based on the script of them playing previously, despite a 3-0, there was a draw on Hanamura, and we got that again. What that draw says to me is that there is a capability for Guangzhou Charge to win, properly win. All they would have needed was 1 tick on Hanamura in the time bank, and we'd be good. The problem is they never touch the point. When I say touch the point, I don't mean the token, I'm going to step on there to trigger the OT. I mean, actually commit onto it and make a proper fight for the point and actually play for the objective to the point where you can maybe win the objective. They never had that in the time bank, and that's maybe my biggest problem with how the time bank was played. Composition's fine. except for maybe, you know, the Symmetra would have helped. That's not even required. I think they could have just made it even without the Sim, but they just never. It's the slowness, it's the indecisiveness, it's the passiveness, it's the sitting on hands-ness, which is not a real word, of the Guangzhou Charge. That is my biggest concern right now because they're too slow as a team to get anything done.
Well, we do have to touch on, you know, what was below us, you know, in our lower third just a little bit ago. The substitutions being made. Funny Astro is going to be coming back in for Toby, but Carpe is going to be subbed out, and EQO is going to be stepping in for him. So Rascal's still going to be fielded. So Fusion are making a pretty big departure here, which is kind of surprising to see because we're going to Hollywood, which is like, I would anticipate, you know, at least some Ash play, maybe even Carpe feeling a little saucy.
It's like the best Widowmaker.
So, like, this is kind of a big deal. Yeah.
What do I suspect Rascal and EQO would be playing? Because you've got 2 flex DPSs now. Could be an Echo.
Do they just try to do what Eileen and Choi Siwon did and play Genji Echo?
I don't want to call this into existence, but you know there's a world for like Sombra Reaper into Lucio Moira comp if they want to just rush through an attack. Double shield. Like the problem is that you're gonna see if they want to play like a traditional double shield on a defense, something like that, where you have an Ashe. Neither of these guys are known for Ashe. This is where you want Carpe. It is very surprising that Carpe's not in. I can't quite nail it. I don't know why they don't have Carpe in. We'll find out. I'm sure Fusion have good reasons for this. They're 2-0 up anyway. But there must be something in the back pocket that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah, I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe I'm thinking of good compositions, and maybe they just do something.
Maybe it's a bad comp. Maybe it's like Genji Echo or something weird.
Maybe they just do something really weird, and it just completely flops, and then Guangzhou get a map one because of that. Boy. I don't know. But this is definitely a bit of new territory that we're entering into right now. So.
The fabled Fire Echo, and you just see like Toby or Funny Ash just going between them. I don't know.
Just trying desperately
double flex DPS. Like what is that?
I mean, like they don't even have Toby in to play the Mercy, so it would have to be like Funny Astro playing it.
I don't know who the Mercy is, because it looks like Funny Astro's their Lucio play and Toby's their Brig. I mean, between Toby and Funny Astro, but obviously Funny Astro's in, right? So, yeah, well,
I would assume Toby, but
I think it's a Lucio comp. If Funny Astro's in, I think it's a Lucio based comp. If it's a Lucio based comp, I think it's going to be Reaper Sombra. That'd be my initial, and I'm assuming it's a good comp and not some troll comp, obviously. Even though I think Lucio Moore is not good, but whatever.
The Fusion are certainly hoping so, as are we. We want to have a good, clean fight. We want to, well, maybe not clean. I'm fine with the down and dirty, but I want it to be close, so we'll see what happens here. Either way, it's certainly surprising to see. We are jumping into game, though. Just had to, get our little substitutions set up and ready to roll, but now they are all squared away, so we can jump in here and see who's going to be able to take Hollywood. And potentially, if the Fusion can close out this series, or if Guangzhou can, in fact, potentially make my pred, real.
And everyone else's pred.
Because I did go for a 3-1, but
you did. Okay.
I'm also fine for this to go deeper and maybe even see the attempt at the reverse sweep. Guangzhou Charge are going to be first on the defense. Seems like they're going to be going for the Echo Tracer. Otherwise, nothing really going to be shaken up here.
Yeah, Reaper Sombra.
Yeah. All right.
It does hurt me. Part of the reason why I also don't think this is good for Philly especially is because Alarm has to play Moira. He doesn't play a bad Moira, but he doesn't get to play his God tier Ana or his elite tier Zen. He doesn't get to be on those heroes. He has to be on a Moira. This is just like putting a Lucio God on a Mercy sometimes, which in the hands of DJ Gon is probably a good thing because he feeds less, but in other people's hands it's like, oh no. But we'll see. The goal here is they're going to just try and rush through. We'll see how Charge can actually handle the speed of this. If there's one thing that you need to be very good at as a team for this comp to work is speed. Dallasfield showed you how. We'll see now if Fusion can, basically replicate that blueprint.
All right, well, orb forward, Alarm just keeping everybody topped up. Funny Astro right-clicking even though there's nobody in front of him. It's fine. Short cooldown on the push around the backside of the point. Appa kind of leading the way here, and Funny Astro buying them some space. Quite a bit of damage being pushed onto Eileen. He's got to drop back behind the doorway, and it's just looking like a slaughterhouse right now, this cafe off the side of the point. First tick going to be snatched up for free. Now the dive comes in. Stun up there on Amano for a moment, but he just zaps away and manages to find Kariv before he can build up the nano boost, which is a bit surprising to say the least. Kariv has often been getting these in the first fights, win or lose, but this time he's going to find himself 35% shy. And this is going to be a very nice just death ball comp here from the side of the Fusion to lock down A.
And you can see that Fusion were expecting Kariv to have a nano as well, which is why they engage. Typically, when I see this comp, I mean, I'm in two minds about this, because on one hand, you are supposed to just go for the fight. Objective be damned, you don't need to go for the cap. The idea for the Lucian Warrior is just to fight straight away. However, they got the cap so easily, like one tick's gone, a second tick's on the way. In my mind, they could have just gotten the entire, capture point with Charge not even contesting. Now they're going to get the best of both worlds. Ultimates in play, Coalescence available. They're full high ground, full control, and Charge have got nothing. They're like hiding behind the first wall, the first, building block.
Yeah, and Hotpush just sitting in the back, just hopping up and down to the card. He's just like, yeah, this is my job. This is my life now.
Like sit on their hands, I told you.
A little bit of extra artillery there as the pulse bomb from choice A1 will find Mono. Good corner there for a moment on the Funny Astros. He desperately tries to get out. Seems like he will manage to escape. It's going to be a primal range single kill for 2 ults used here, and I think that overall the Fusion are going to be quite satisfied with that. Still have 4.5 minutes, and they nearly have 6 ults ready to roll. That's going to be the hack on the Krong. They take him out of the mech, and now this Death Blossom that just becomes online for Rascal is that much deadlier. See when he decides to pull the trigger on it. Coalescence for now comes through. EMP out, catches on to 3. And yeah, they don't have to use the ult. The Coal and the EMP is going to be damn well good enough for them. Look for the finish there on the Baby Diva. Eileen does get taken out of his duplicate. And the cart continues to press forward.
And there's some late kills here as well, so it's just going to take longer for Charge to reset. By the time Charge actually reset properly, this payload's going to be at the end point of B, so there's going to be 1 attempt left to go. And all you have is going to be a late rally. I would expect if you want to fight this one, Mandarin is to pop rally now. It'll be responded to by a sound barrier, so Fusion right now should be able to cap this one pretty comfortably outside of mistakes.
Yeah, for a second I thought maybe they weren't going to touch the point, touch the card. 2 meters away now. Another hack comes forward onto Krong. That's going to lead into the Death Blossom and finish him off. Okay. Sound barrier is still going to be used here in the fight. 2 members gone off the bat. Guangzhou Charge desperately trying to fight back. Choice A1 nearly with a pulse bomb online. Krong be coming back in with the self-destruct. They can't stay on the card. They cannot keep it contested. I thought maybe there's going to be a window of opportunity for them to buy some space, get a backline pickoff, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah, all you do is buy time, but you can't win the fight. The problem is they just never have the capability to win these fights when they're so far behind to start with. This is a team that, for the most part, at least on Hanamura, was getting these 6v5s or something. Now they're not even getting the first kill. The one thing Charge were doing so successfully in Hanamura, even though they lost a lot of 5v, 6v5s, is getting that first pick, which they're not getting now. And Manda took so long to rally. I said, when they come through, if they're going to engage, they need to pre-rally pretty much straight away and go in. Krong dies, and then Mandu rallies after he dies.
Okay, well, Rio, Primal Rage goes into the back, does manage to find Alarm, but Rascal pounds down Eileen, takes him out of the sky, and further denies the build time on that duplicate ult. Alarm straight back into the fight, obviously has the close spawn, so can get back into the action fairly swiftly, but on the back end of all of this, Rascal gets picked off. Krong gets the finish there onto the Reaper, so even more time bought, but still strong time bank established here for the side of the Fusion. They just need to find a way to break through, and this EMP might be the way that they look to make that happen. Yep, comes in, and somehow it's actually only going to be on the 1. Only finds Krong. Mana boost out on the Rio to try to keep him alive. The Coalescence chasing forward. They push them back around the corner. They look for Eileen, and Alarm will find the finish. They do buy some space for themselves to go ahead and start inching this cart forward, but the Charge, they definitely have an opportunity to try to retake this, and that is a great start for them as Rascal gets dropped. Pulse bomb out from Choice A1, not going to manage to find any targets. Self-destruct going to be lobbed in as well. Weaves around the pillars, but doesn't find a pickoff. Funny Astro is left out the drive back over on the cart by himself. Gets finished off, and yet again, the Guangzhou Charge, they can occupy the space right at the start of the studio.
This is not bad from Charge at all. I mean, I got to really look at this now critically and say that the fact that they dodged the EMP so successfully, like you, I'm not too sure how that happened. I think Choice Juan recalled in time, and then the other person just got out of the way. They get the stun onto Rascal via Mandu's shield bash. Great stuff there. Kareem lands sleep on a Primal Rage Commando, and things are looking pretty decent. Sound Barrier should be used for Funny Astro if things go poor, but looks like a 6v5 should be decent.
Well, now it's going to be a 5v5 as EQO. Headshot comes through from Eileen, gets that elimination. The duplicate going to be used, copies the Diva. That's just that much more mitigation to be had here for the squad, as well as that self-destruct, which he so very quickly builds up. drops it right into the stairwell. Not sure if he's going to be able to find any targets there, but they'll manage to get back into the mech. Only a few seconds remaining. He won't be able to get another self-destruct online, but still is doing a considerable amount of damage. The beam comes through. He's looking to break Hotba out, manages to do so. Death Blossom in the back, however, and Rascal manages to find 4. Both supports, both tanks. Just absolutely rips them to shreds. Eileen will find 1. A slight little reprieve here on the back end of the fight, but Mono is quick to return. Now the cart is gliding forward. Now we have to see, can the Guangzhou Charge buy an insane amount of time like we saw them do in Hanamura?
Yeah, they need the nano boost as well. Kareev dying there without using the nano. I mean, they didn't get a chance to really continue that fight. He'll need it pop it onto I suspected Krong because he was nearly dead, but Rio will keep everything alive. This is going to force a fusion now who respect that nano, back away, understand that they don't want to be playing into it. EMP has to be the call to action. Now, where's Sekio? Hits 3, Rio melted.
Yeah, just absolutely evaporated there, and Krong as well follows suit. Rascal gets straight in on top of him, and that is enough space bought. Just get rid of the tanks. No one else can really play forward. No one was really ready to play forward. So they get the push with 1 minute and 32 seconds remaining in the time bank.
Rascal, I think, delivering that one over. The 4K was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And Charge were trying to milk that fight. You could tell they were being very slow about it. This time, I don't mind them being so. Listen, there's a right time and a wrong time to be slow. And the right times to be slow is when you're on the defense, you're trying to bleed down the timer, and you want fights to go longer. Or you want the attacking team to engage into you first, and you want to respond and play reactionary. That's bleeding down the attacker's time. That's when you want to be slow. But other times when you're being slow, you're being charged, you're just giving up everything, and Fusion walking over you. In this place, in that particular moment that I'm talking about, where Kareev died, I could see what they were doing. They want to milk the fight. They want to use the, the nano boost later, as late as possible, trying to extend this fight, really bleed it down as much as possible. But no one's keeping an eye on Rascal, and that's a problem. Versus a Reaper, especially in this Reaper, Moira, kind of Lucio composition, if you don't know where the Reaper is, he's going to be on your back line, especially with the Death Blossom. That's dangerous. And Krong, in particular, his job is to mark the Reaper because he's got to have this defensive matrix ready to go at all times when Rascal arrives, because if you're not ready for Rascal, he suddenly gets a couple of kills. He doesn't need 4 kills, just like 1 or 2 is enough on the right plays. And the right players is somebody like Kareev with a nano.
And it's just, strange to lose track of Rascal. Krong is so good at tracking Sombras. That's why he, became like a, he was in talks for like an MVP candidate, Rookie of the Year, Roll Star for tank. But so he can track a woman who can literally turn invisible, but not Spooky Ghost Man, who makes noises everywhere that he goes.
Maybe it's too hard to do both.
So that's a little perplexing, but we'll see how the Charge fare on their attack. They find EQO for a moment, force him to recall out, or rather, translocate out.
Genji? Dude, how do I know this?
Yep.
It's Choi going back to spawn. It's Choi going back to spawn, and he's like, yeah, I think about the Genji time. We communicated telepathically, and I thought about the Genji, he thought about the Genji, and we connected.
I want to go for the Najin Black Sword, as you said earlier. I'll tack on the. I didn't
say the Najin sword, but I get it.
We'll go for that. Why not? It's historical and it is related to esports, so we'll go for that.
They wish they could be Najin Black Sword.
Yeah, little minor dive coming through. EQO doing pretty decently on the EMP charge at the moment. It's going to be ahead of Eileen by about 30% at the moment. Hack goes forward onto Choi-Se-Wan. He pulls back, keeps himself safe as Mono just takes a swing at Rio, but hasn't really gotten too many connections with this Rhine Hammer, so it's going to be pretty well late on building up this Earth Shatter.
Okay. This is going to be like a 130 nano. Kareev, okay, this team's not been taking enough damage. They haven't fed him enough. 126 nano, it's still really late. It's about 26 seconds late, but they need to go for it now. They haven't really committed onto the point yet. Here we go, finally. And he's frozen.
Wall's coming up. Yeah, just try and deny some damage. Everybody gets out of the stairwell rather quickly. Good place. Good rotations here from the side of the Fusion. EMP comes through. Manages to find 3, and the Guangzhou Charge look to pull back. They get themselves tucked in by the doorway, but it's not going to be good enough.
Just got the primal.
Yeah, just got it. Does get taken down to the back end. Now EQO finds a kill. Just looking to go ahead and try to lap Eileen as best as possible. But we will have, this EMP blade online for the side of the Charge on the next take, but they need to make it work, because if they don't, then this very well could be a full hold.
The reset is what hurts the most, because if Rio dies like half a second later and he actually primals just before he dies, and I think he was on like 99%, because he instantly dies and I see the tick come up, so he must have died right on the brink of it. If he actually primals, that's different. There's a 5-man now EMP, and Rascal's deleted.
Yeah, Blade's coming through, and that's exactly what they needed. It works to a T. Good interrupt on that charge just to keep Choice A1 alive there. You can see a little shy grin on his face. Or sly grin is what I meant to say, but the cap will be coming through for the charge, so no full hold to be found. And I mean, honestly, April, the ult economy right now for the charge is not that bad. It's pretty equal with the Fusion.
Yeah. Well, that's because you played an EMP, which is a farming ultimate. I mean, Choi did get some kills in there, but usually EMP is just going to let the rest of your team get the required ultimates. Rio doesn't have the primal, which is great. So it takes them an extra fight. The reset does still hurt them. My argument was, if Rio primals and then you play into the EMP sword, you probably get that win right in the previous fight. So they lose maybe like 30 seconds there. They'll now have to try and make up for it on this next engagement. Focus on a bit of cart push here. This is where I don't want to see Korea and Rio go too deep too early. Focus on payload first, and as Fusion come down, now you engage.
Nano's out, but a hack goes through onto Rio, and Funny Astro responds with the sound barrier. They take the fight to the charge. Krong going to be melted out of the mech, forced to use the self-destruct. Doesn't find any value there, and Hoppa very nicely does deny the remake there from Krong. Now with Rio gone, there's no real way to stay forward here as good cutoff comes through from Rascal, just ensuring that Mondu cannot retreat. Good shot. Oh my god, headshot too. Takes Eileen out of midair. It's going to be the Fusion asserting the dominance, and it doesn't cost them too much. You know, just going to be the sound barrier used with 4 ultimates still to go.
Very cheap. I mean, this has completely thrown things heavily in the favor of Fusion now. I can foresee this going, you know, another minute and a half to 2 minutes down before Charge are in a really good position to cap. Charge probably don't cap B until 30 seconds remaining now, something like that, unless Fusion really make mistakes on these ultimates, but they're so far ahead. Alarm probably opens up that matrix first, and they might not even need to EMP this. Oh, that's a good hack.
There's one hack for the moment. Can't capitalize on it, though, to try to finish off the Genji, so he's going to be okay. Just pulls back. A couple of right clicks will get him that blade online. EMP, however, comes out from EQO, manages to find 3, and Hotma has the alley-oop! 3 members gone in an instant. Manu and Eileen all just completely eradicated off the face of the map. Yep, Mech as well. They get the finish on the Baby Diva. And now it's less than 2 minutes on the clock here for the side of the Charge, and they still have to make it to B and then finish the map with time.
Can I actually say one thing is, despite massive self-destruct kills being kind of impressive, like, yeah, it's cool, big kill feed, explosion, we get it. That's a clean reset for Charge now. If you're going to lose a fight, you want to lose in that fashion where everyone dies at the same time and you don't feed ultimates. Ooh. That's 4 players that die to self-destruct and do not feed ultimates. Now want to go in, Blade is ready to go. Just have to wait out the sound barrier.
Yeah, they wanted to get on top of Alarm because that was a really good sleep dart out from Karib. Choice A1 down 4 HP, and they just hound him down. Fortunately for him, he doesn't use the blade, but now Eileen going to be taken out of the sky, can barely, just so close to getting over to that Mega Pack, but even then, I think he would have been gone. And it's just a clean turnaround here from the side of the Fusion. Good sound barrier timing there from Funny Astro. Choice A1 tries to wait it out, and they just absolutely focus fire the hell out of him.
Yeah, I mean, that was I gotta say, a pretty big overreaction to the threat of the blade, like, you know, your white blood cells an analogy, but at this point in time, you want to play, sure, you play the sound barrier plus then also the Blizzard here just to make sure the Nano Blade isn't going to be effective, and it doesn't end up being effective because Choice A1 gets taken very low. Now, could they have been a Blade anyway? If he gets healed back up and still goes, I think that's possible, but getting that kill, dropping them down to 4, that's beautiful stuff, and then the overcommitment of the sound barrier and Blizzard ends up being worth.
Okay, this is what I was going to say. Maybe go for the duplicate to start things off. Eileen does go for the Diva. That's extra protection for the Genji if he decides to dive in, but you can see Choice A1 is playing patiently here. Hack comes out, as we do see the EMP hit coming in from EQO. Manages to find 2. Choice A1 throughout the blade, but now is going to be frozen for the time being. Slashed his way to a kill on the EQO. Managed to survive, but that's as good as it got for his ult. Rascal cannot escape off that high ground. Somebody's going to have to touch the card at the moment. Okay, there we go. Somebody does get it. I thought they were not going to get it, and they were just going to C9 the point. Does not happen. Now they have it inching forward. Let's see just how far they can take it, because they need to get it all the way into B, and then they need to storm their way into the finish here of this map. Bionade out from Kariv is going to be absolutely huge. Nano Boost rolling on Rio just to try to zone them back. Get that next Primal Rage online. Krong can buy extra space as well with this self-destruct. Let's see if he can make it happen.
The hat? Oh my god.
There on a man up for now. EQO finds Eileen, takes him down out of the skies. Sound barrier is here from Funny Astro, trying to keep the team topped up. Krong going to be knocked out of the mech, uses the self-destruct to rally, rolling for Mondu, trying to keep he and Kariv alive. A little bit of armor offered up onto Choice A1, who nearly has another blade ready to roll. Mondu, whip shot goes forward, finds Alarm. EQO sliced and diced. Charge might just very well be able to make this happen to no team. It seems like they will have it as the team kill does come through. Another minute and a half added to the time bank, but they need to finish this map with time if they want to have a chance at winning this out. Otherwise, they're going to be playing yet again for a draw.
I think that is like almost the definition of a miracle fight because they were down 5v6. EQ gets a manual hack onto Eileen, takes him down solo. But then Charge, they manage to do the damage required. They survive, and everybody's, you know, you see Alarm's POV. He's caught indoors, can't use the Amp Matrix, and things are looking poor for the Philadelphia Fusion. We're losing all their HP, and suddenly Charge had turned things around. They probably shouldn't have won that fight, but now they've been gifted an opportunity to finish this map. The problem is, just like we saw in Gibraltar, they need to do this in one go, and they got to do it flawlessly.
Okay, well, Primal Rage leads the charge. McCrong isolated, taken out. Now Rio going to be the focus fire. He's trying to get out, but he's not going to be able to do so. Only EQO going to be found, but with 2 tanks down, Choice A1 pulls the blade, goes for the nano.
Maybe.
He finds Alarm, he finds Rascal. Has he actually turned this around? Gets rid of Hotfla. He makes him kills off the Baby Diva. Mono with nowhere to go will get finished off, and just like that, it's an extended team wipe. They have to make this happen right here, right now. There's still members running back to rejoin in with the rest of the charge. They have no ults to speak of. Can they make this happen?
I can't believe that. The EMP's still available. The EQ can really stop this now. If he lands on enough plays, he's been revealed. He has to go for it. Yep, lands on 3.
Does manage to make it happen. Yeah, Choice A1 going to fall down. Both supports, however, still going to be safe for the time being. Choice A1, does he see with the Genji? Does he try to swap over onto something else? They're zoning them back at the moment here with the Deadeye. They get the touch in there just for a moment. The flashbang comes through, and Eileen is absolutely ripped apart from D-Mech, just 6% away from his self-destruct, which he so desperately would have loved to have had. Choice A1 is alive, but he has got no hope, no blade available, no Kariv to back him up. The Philly Fusion will successfully defend here at the end of Hollywood to close out this series 3-0. A little asterisk topped in there because of the draw.
Wow, that really upped my heart rate right towards the end there. I actually started to seriously believe, because Charge turned around 2 fights that looked like it was over. And you heard me audibly let out this disappointed sigh because it was like they're going to nano blade into a lost fight. This is it. They're going to be done. They're not even going to see the end of Hollywood. But Choice A1 pulls out a beautiful nano blade, one of the best that we have seen so far. And that's the threat. I mean, this is why you have Fusion kind of throwing so many ultimates and so much resource to stop the nano blades because they know it's dangerous. Even though the nano blade came on through, the difficulty there was the nano blade to me needed to happen on what would have then been the final fight that gets the payload across the line to actually get you in. Because the problem is you've nano bladed to save a fight, cool. But now you can't camp because you've got no resource left, and that unfortunately means they've run out of fuel. They've run out of gas towards the end. They get almost to the finish line, but they haven't done this fuel management thing properly, and their race car just kind of puts out into dust and just doesn't reach the end. So, yeah, not enough resource there, but a decent showing. Nearly got a cap, nearly got a time bank. Fusion, though, overall the stronger team outside of the draw.
Yeah, I mean, still, some concerns overall for the Fusion. It's not, they come back in here, they have Funny Astro, and suddenly they look like this Titanic team that is going to be able to, best anybody else in the region. But still, overall, looking quite good. For the Fusion, it's good to see these, these faces that we haven't seen for so very long playing here in Korea in person with the rest of the squad on cam. So, grateful to at least see that. I'm sure Fusion are going to be grateful to avoid, extra overtime rounds, a potential other, another draw potentially there on Hollywood had they been able to get that finish. But yeah, a very well done finish there for the Philadelphia Fusion in the end. Let's go ahead and take a look at our player of the match on the side of the Philly Fusion, and it's Alarm. You said best flex support in the world, and he put up some serious numbers here today. I wouldn't necessarily agree with you, but he's in contention for sure. I go Twilight.
You go Twilight? Twilight doesn't even get full game time over Violet, but that's because, they're both pretty good. But I'm just saying, he might not even be the best flex support on his own team. Just saying. Well, that's debatable. That's actually more debatable than Alarm. I'll stick to my guns. Based on what I've seen, the eye test from what I've seen, nutty plays per second is my measuring point here. That's my metric, nutty plays per second. Alarm gets the most nutty plays per second. That's MPS. Gets the most NPS nutty plays per second. So, yeah, no one competes in my mind. So, look at that. It's just the crazy stuff that Alarm does. Every map as well, every match, every time we've casted Alarm, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, he's, they're having, of course, a couple of blunders. You think back to, Blizzard World Defense, him playing Zenyatta and just getting absolutely obliterated in the first fight. But when he's, especially when he's on this Ana.
Can you blame him, though?
I mean, not necessarily. I'm just saying, there's been those moments where it's, the not so nutty plays. But, yeah, I mean, this was just absolutely huge from him. I mean, 12 sleeps throughout the series, and all of those pretty much leading to kills, and many of them being shutdowns on Sombras who were looking to, EMP or build EMP. So it was a really, really strong performance from him in particular. It's good to see him, reunited alongside Funny Astro, and I'm also grateful to see Fusion being flexible and also bringing Toby back in when they want to play things like the Mercy or, even just have him on the Brigida from time to time. So I think there's a lot of hope for this roster. They've only recently just gotten back together, obviously, so there's still got to be a lot of prep, a lot of practice to get back into the groove of things. But with EQO there, who looked great today, with Funny Astro there, I think that Fusion very well is going to have to be considered a serious contender here in the APAC region.
Yeah, and I hope they actually make a knockout as well, because they have made knockouts, but they haven't made Hawaii yet. So Fusion have been that team that they're like the best team that haven't made it, next to some of the obvious good choices, like Shock, for example, that also haven't made it. So, maybe this will be their stage. They've opened up nicely, although, to be fair, you probably expect them to beat the Charge. I predicted 3-0, you predicted 3-1. I think either could have been reliable here. That 3-1, though,
the draw's
probably what
it
it should have happened on the Hanamura. I will say that if there was an opportunity for 3-1, it happens on the Hanamura there, and all that needs to happen is, as the most forehead statement ever, I'm sorry, but it comes down to, Charge getting that first take on their time bank, and then suddenly that's a 3-1 Achilleo. So, unfortunately, though, they didn't quite get that, so a 3-0 instead.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we also have to go to a break, so we can't continue breaking down the action. But when we come back, it's going to be our, our little bold prediction segment here with our crunch time. So we'll break down the action even further. So we'll continue on with our ramblings about this series and what could have been or what could be in the future. So don't go anywhere, guys. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.